Okay, so we've done that, and we're now looking at box 4. And there's a little example there of what we're aiming for. This is what we want to get it to look like. So box 4 says, draw an orthographic projection, which is what this is, of the iPod with dimensions. It's giving us some dimensions here, so we've got to work out, we've got to do a little bit of measuring and make sure that we follow those dimensions. And it says add the base if you have time. Okay, so if we have time, then we'll add the base, and we'll leave a bit of space for that as well. It doesn't give us dimensions for the base, but we can work that out as long as we've got the space. Now you see this line here. It says comes all the way down here, and it says start your drawing in the bottom left corner. That's because there isn't much space here, and if you don't, then you'll kind of run out of space here. So we're going to draw this view first, the front view of our orthographic projection. And we know that the height, if you want, you could write this in. So the height is 7. So let's put 7 in there. The width is 4.5. Just helps because the lines are empty, so you might as well fill them in. And the thickness is 1 centimeter. So that is a bit funny, but that's supposed to say 1 there. Okay. Then it says the big wheel are 1.5. So the big wheel is pointing to the outside, so that's 1.5. R means radius, so that's the distance from the middle out to the edge. All right, so we're going to use a compass later on to do that, so we can set the compass at 1.5 centimeters, and if we hit it in the right place, do the circle, it'll look like that. The small one is R 0.6, so 0.6 of a centimeter, so let's put 0.6 in there. Right, I think we're ready to start. So let's get this view here. So we know that it's 4.5 wide, so we can measure from the bottom there. We're going to go 4.5, which brings us out to about that. Actually, I've just realised we're not going to have space to do the base. Oh well, never mind. So 7 comes up the side here. We're looking at 7 centimeters. I'm measuring with my ruler from the bottom right up to the top, and it hits there. So we can get the top in now. Now you notice I bring the line all the way across, and again it's a very faint line, it's just a construction line. And this one here, I'm just checking to see if the side of my ruler, even though I'm drawing on this side, it's parallel, so I can just check here. That looks about right, doesn't it? So run that up there. And that's the space now that we're going to draw this front view of the iPod. It doesn't tell us how big the screen is, but it does tell us how big the wheel is. So let's draw a center line, a bit like it suggests there. So you can divide that in 2. We know that it's supposed to be 4.5. I've actually made mine a little bit too wide. So 2.25 would be the center. Mark it on there, and then we can run a dotted line or a broken line all the way from the top, which is a long dash, short dash, long dash, short dash, long dash, short dash, and so on. Okay, so that gives us the center line. Right, let's leave that now, and let's kind of try and see if we can construct this view, the side view, and that's going to be over here somewhere. So we might as well go right to the other side here. We know that it's 1 centimeter thick, so let's do that. 1 centimeter thick, and then we just drop a line down there, and that's virtually it. The only other thing we need to do is just drop the center line that runs down there, which is kind of a split line between the 2 moldings of the phone, the back and the front of the phone, or iPod, sorry. So we run that in there. Now, just so that we can kind of see that properly, let's run a dark line around the outside of it. Not the middle lines, just around the outside of it. So we know that that is the side view, which is that fellow there. We also know that this is the front view. Should we round the corners a bit, working back on the front view again? Let's just put a little round it. Oh look, they've given us a round corner there already. And again, we're just going to darken those lines up a bit so we can see it a bit better and it looks a bit smarter. Okay, so that's that one, that one. We'll come and do the screen in a minute. Let's do the top view now, the plan view as they call it. So we've left a bit of space there. Why don't we leave the same amount of space there? I'm guessing it's about there. So we'll start constructing this up here. Now you can see I don't know where to stop it here. Well, easy. Bring this line up here, that's where you stop it. So we don't have to measure it again, 4.5. We've already measured it once. As long as that line is straight, we've got it where we want it. We know that it is 1 centimetre thick again, so let's just make that 1 centimetre and then bring that across there like that. Halfway is our split line, so let's put the split line in. Not quite as heavy as the outside line. And then let's give that a nice fat bold outline. And that is that view done. That view's done, that view's done. If we were going to take this further, there'd probably be little controls and sockets and things, you know, on the sides of this, but we don't need to do that. We don't have time. Let's now look at this wheel. So we've been told that the big wheel is 1.5 radius. So I'm going to get my compass here. You should have a compass. I'm going to set that to 1.5. So you open it up until it hits 1.5, and that is now 1.5. Okay, looks about right. So we've got the center line, and we know, look, you can see it's going to be a little distance off the bottom there. So why don't you put the pencil kind of, or you could make a little mark saying where you want it to end. Right. Put the pin in there, and then mark there. That is going to be the center of our circle. So that we then put the pin in there like that, and then carefully just round like that. It takes a bit of practice sometimes to use a compass without it popping out of the center hole. So I go around a few times like that, and you can see it's starting to appear. And now we want the little one in the middle, and we've been told that that is R0.6. So again, the radius, the distance from the middle of the circle to the edge of the circle is 0.6 of a centimetre, which means 6 millimetres. So we need to adjust this and make it a lot smaller. Oh, it's difficult to do that holding this and trying to show you at the same time. So we're getting close now to 0.6. It's almost there. There we go. 0.6. And we're going to the same hole which we made before, and we draw in the little circle right in the middle there. See? That's great. Now that we've got the hole, or the centre, why don't we draw a little dashed line through there? Our centre line through there. Looks nice. Now we can just make a judgment about where that needs to be, and you can see there's a little gap on top of the wheel, and a similar sort of gap around the edge of the screen. Again, this is just quick orthographic view, so we don't have to worry too much about measurements and stuff. And there we have it. It doesn't look exactly like the one that I've drawn there, but you know, that's good enough. Everything lines up, all these views line up. We've got our circles in. I think that's good enough. Okay.